The stench of rotting fish drifted up from the Blackwater even at dawn, clinging to the humid air between the quays and the red-roofed merchant houses. Storm-tossed gulls wheeled overhead, screaming as if for the sheer pleasure of noise, while the city shook the last of night from its alleys. In the great square outside the Red Keep, gold-cloaked guards moved like brass chessmen, stamping spear butts on flagstones slick with river mist. They muscled gawkers back behind a cordon of rope and pikes, for the king's justice was to be done, and the small folks' excitement tasted of copper fear. High above them, the castle's windows glimmered with candlelight. Viserys Michael, a young herald whose polished helm still creased his brow, stood inside the Tower of the Hand, waiting to escort Lord Eddard Stark back to the yard. He flexed stiff fingers, glancing at Ser Barristan Selmy, who leaned against the wall in white cloak and plate, as serene as an old marble statue that had taken to breathing. "He will come," Ser Barristan said, calm as evening rain. "I never doubted it, Ser," the herald replied, though his pulse jittered. Lord Stark was quiet, too quiet, whenever the talks with the king turned grim. These past 10 days had been nothing but grim. The door opened without warning. Eddard Stark emerged, a tall gray wolf of a man in simple northern wool, his limp nearly gone after weeks of recovery, but the cane still in his hand. In the half-lit corridor, his face was unreadable. Yet the boy caught the faintest tremor in the scar by his lordship's knee when the distant clang of the portcullis traveled up the stones. Ser Barristan inclined his head. "It is time, my lord." Ned Stark nodded, eyes like smoke. "Best not keep the realm waiting." They descended together. Every stairwell echoed. Ned's thoughts echoed louder still, a drum of duty, promise, memory. It had been 5 days since Varys brought him the parchment. Peter Baelish, Lord Protector of the Narrow Sea, Master of Coin, was accused of conspiring in the murder of Jon Arryn and plotting discord between crown and houses great and small. The list of offenses ran long as a Winterfell tapestry, yet it was the final line that struck hardest: treason against the crown and realm. Robert Baratheon, too weary, too fond of ale, but with the old storm still alive somewhere behind eyes clouded by wine, had shocked the court by demanding haste instead of indulgence. "Gold cloaks have grown fat this past decade," the king declared, "and some men hid behind books of numbers and jesting words. But treason is treason, and I'll see it bled out of my halls." The Iron Throne Room served as courtroom. Lord Littlefinger had been dragged in chains before the bar of his peers, silver hair falling over one eye, smirking even as Ser Jaime read the charges. That was 2 mornings ago. The small council, stripped of the Master of Coin's mocking laughter, now felt hollow as a cracked horn. Grand Maester Pycelle had begged the king for clemency. Varys merely observed like a plump raven. Renly kept silent for once, alarm in his green eyes. And Cersei glowed with rage, red gold hair shining, though she feigned disinterest. As for Ned, he had stood beside Ser Barristan, heart like stone. He remembered Jon Arryn, the Falcon of the Vale, kind and stubborn. If Messer Baelish had a hand in Jon's death, the North demanded justice. He reached the yard. Heat welled through the morning haze. At the center stood the block, a heavy ash stump darkened by oil and years. The headsman's greatsword rested on an iron stand, its two-handed grip wrapped in crimson leather. Ice might have dwarfed it, Ned thought, yet nothing could shrink the weight on his chest. King Robert waited atop a short dais, belly straining against a black velvet doublet trimmed in gold stags. The man had seldom looked more alive. Beneath the bravado, Ned sensed pain. Robert could laugh aloud during a feast, but when the roar faded, loneliness howled in the silence. Today, though, the king's eyes were blue steel. They brought Peter Baelish forth. He wore no fine brocade now, only a plain tunic, wrists manacled. Still he moved with cat-like grace. As the ropes parted, murmurs washed over the square. Mockingbird, the climber, sells lies for roses. Littlefinger smiled thinly. Ned studied him, seeking remorse. He found none. "Lord Baelish," Ser Barristan called, voice ringing. "By decree of his grace Robert Baratheon, first of his name, you stand condemned of treason." Have you final words before sentence is carried out?" Littlefinger's gaze passed over the crowd, lingered on Sansa Stark among the ladies on the terrace, then alighted on Ned. That mocking smile twitched wider. "A man's final words ought be sweet," Peter said. Yet these lips were weaned on salt. "Tell me, Lord Stark, will sweetness save the realm?" "No, I think not. I think—" Cersei moved as if to hush him, but Robert bellowed, "Enough!" He gestured to the block. 2 gold cloaks shoved Baelish to his knees. Dust puffed where he landed. The convict craned his neck toward Ned one last time. For an instant, the smile faltered, replaced by something almost wounded. Then it was gone, and the rope of his composure snapped free of whatever post tied it to this world. The headsman stepped forward. Ser Island Payne, mute and grim, teeth like chipped marble. He hefted the sword. Littlefinger closed his eyes. The gulls shrieked. The blade fell. A single, wet thump echoed against the keep walls. The small folk gasped. Even the air held still as if shocked. Blood steamed on the block. When the silence broke, it was with the rustle of courtiers exhaling relief, and the ragged cry of a lone beggar proclaiming the king's strength. Robert turned and left the dais, entourage flocking behind. The realm would praise this show of justice, Ned knew, but justice seldom kept a realm safe on its own. Markdown. That evening, the small council met in the solar overlooking the bay. Candles guttered, casting long ropes of gold across the table's carved map of Westeros. Renly Baratheon toyed with a silver knife, tapping arbor wine from its point onto his empty cup. Grand Maester Pycelle's jowls trembled each time wind slapped shutters. Ned stood by the fire. The flames hissed like angry whisperers. Varys, robed in lavender silk, drifted near the door, scenting the air. "We've had spies slain before," Renly was saying, "but seldom our own counselor. Brother, we must choose a new master of coin swiftly, or commerce will knot up tighter than a Dornish whore." Robert sat at the head, boots on the map table. "There'll be no more coin counters who think themselves Spider Kings." He drained half a flagon. "Stannis will handle the task until I name another." Renly's mouth twitched. "Stannis is at Dragonstone. Send a raven." Robert's voice allowed no contradiction. Pycelle cleared his throat. "Your Grace, removing Lord Baelish will ripple through the crown's finances. Our debts to the Iron Bank are—" "Let them wait." Robert scowled. Baelish lined half those debts with his own schemes. Now he's gone, so his ledgers can rot with him. Ned felt the room tip sideways at such reckless talk. "Your Grace, the realm's purse cannot be ignored. King's Landing runs on coin as surely as the North lives on harvest. We need someone proper for the office." Robert blinked, anger fading to weariness. "Aye, you're right, Ned. John Arryn always said the same." He rubbed his eyes. "Name me a man of honor who can do sums, and I'll give him a key to the vault." Ned thought of Ser Roderick Castle, of Maester Luwin, of men careful and true, yet none walked these walls. "I will consider, Your Grace." "Do that. Meanwhile, I sail for the summer tourney at Storm's End." Robert tried for a grin. "It will be good to feel a warhammer in my hands again, even if only against straw." The meeting drifted on, but Ned's mind returned to the courtyard. He saw Peter Baelish's head rolling to a halt, saw sudden fear in clever green eyes, saw blood-darkened stone. Justice, yes. Yet what plots had died with the man, and what serpents escaped the net in his shadow? Markdown. The North had taught Ned that after every storm came calm, when farmers checked fences and mothers counted children. But the Red Keep granted no such grace. 3 days after the execution, a raven from Riverrun arrived. Ser Edmure Tully, riding patrols along the Tumblestone, had seized a pair of sellswords carrying forged documents naming them emissaries of King's Landing. Under questioning, they confessed to offering bribes for river traffic schedules, bribes backed with gold coins bearing the Mockingbird sigil. Dead men's coins still bought betrayal. By nightfall, rumors stalked the corridors. The Queen had quarreled loudly with her brother in the Maiden Vault. Renly had ordered extra guards before dawn. Varys whispered that Highgarden's gardener knights asked curious questions about Casterly Rock's debts. Littlefinger's absence left hungry mouths searching for new scraps. Ned kept to the Tower of the Hand, poring over books seized from the treasury. He found pages in cipher, ledgers of shadow deposits, strange transfers through the Iron Bank to unnamed ports. Lines of ink wound like black worms toward an unknown heart. Sansa visited him on the 5th night. She stood in the doorway, so delicate he feared a breeze might break her. "I dream of his head, father," she whispered. "I see it opening its mouth, but no sound comes." Her hands trembled. Ned took her into his arms. "You are safe. Littlefinger cannot hurt you now." "But why did he look at me?" She stared into the fire where logs cracked. Like he was sorry or mocking. Ned had no answer but the hush of the flames. He sent for Septa Mordain to see her back to her chambers. When Sansa was gone, he leaned on his cane and stared at the sword ice, hanging above the hearth. The shadows moved across the blade like dark water. If Littlefinger's execution was but the wind-carved tip of an icy cliff, the mass of treachery lay hidden beneath. Who else had drunk from his poison wine? Who else called themselves friend yet drew daggers in secret corridors? And what of the boy on Dragonstone? Stannis's maester's letter still in Ned's sleeve, unspoken truths of bastardy and black hair. Marked down. A week later, Dawn found Ned riding through the King's Gate with a small escort. Ser Desmond Grell, Jory Castle, and 5 Northmen sworn to Winterfell. Mist curled about the hooves of their horses as they turned north along the Rose Road, bound for the holdfast of Hayford, where reports spoke of Selsward camps flown with a mockingbird banner. Robert had dismissed the tales. Bandits seeking a name to scare women. Yet Ned chose caution. Ghosts can rally men as fiercely as flesh. They passed carts of apples bound south for the city, shepherds driving flocks west toward market. The countryside thrummed with late summer life, oblivious to the tremors under stone ramparts. At midday they crested a hill and looked down upon a meadow by the Blackwater Rush. White tents ringed a banner. A field of gray-green cloth embroidered with a mockingbird clutching a coin in its beak. Baelish's device raised high beside a red scythe of unknown allegiance. Campfires smoked. Ned counted perhaps 200 blades. He felt the old chill from the crypts of Winterfell slide beneath his vest. Littlefinger might be dead, but his networks breathed on.
Ser Desmond Desquinted, no Levi Callers.
Mercenaries, likely. Jory read Ned's face. Strike at dusk. Ned shook his head. Observe first. Men who sell swords for gold may sell truth as well. They descended, careful, leaving mounts amidst the reeds. By late afternoon, hidden behind thorn bushes, they watched the edge of camp. No house sigils, only some Stormlander shields repainted. Voices carried in the still air, talk of shipments on the Rose Road, talk of gold cloaks gone soft, talk of debts soon repaid. One man, scarred across the jaw, spoke a name hushed and deferential. Bastard O'Baelish.
Ned stiffened. Abastarson?
Or a false claimant conjured to rally strays. In any case, the camp was a spark in dry tinder. When night deepened, they crept away. Ned penned a raven to King's Landing. Outlaw camp found, coordinate assault. But as he sealed the parchment, a greater worry stirred, for new rumors spoke of Lord Tywin mustering at Casterly Rock. The Lannisters did not respond kindly when insulted, and Baelish's ledgers suggested coin had passed from rock to mockingbird often. If the spiders lost their web, wolves and lions might soon tear each other apart. Marked down. 2 moons later, autumn painted the skies over the capital with streaks of purple dusk. The small council had squabbled itself into stalemate. Ships needed, taxes raised, harvest granaries counted twice. Ned pressed the king to face uncomfortable truths, but Robert shirked numbers like priestly sermons. The Northmen's patience frayed. On the eve of the harvest feast, as nobles filled the city, Varys slipped into Ned's chambers unbidden. The eunuch's slippers made no sound on the rushes, yet the sea salt in Ned's blood warned him before the man spoke. "Lord Stark," Varys purred, hands folded in voluminous sleeves. Matters of grievous import weigh upon us both. Ned set down his quill. I've no taste for riddles tonight. Then I will serve you a blunt blade. Varys dipped his head. A child, a dark-haired boy fostered at Storm's End, has been seen in conversation with Queen Cersei's attendants. Notable, because the Queen's attendants claim the boy called her aunt. It is whispered he bears the king's brow and the Queen's green eyes, and yet he is not that most precious of seeds. Ned's heart hammered. Speak plain. 1 bastard is a rumor, 2 a coincidence, 3 cries of war. Varys paced before the hearth. Jon Arryn died prying at such matters. Now Lord Baelish is gone, but his ciphers remain. Some secrets he buried were poison to us all. Ned remembered Littlefinger's sneer. Knowledge is power, he had once told Ned, but only if you keep it to yourself while letting others believe you share. How many blades still turned at strings pulled by unseen fingers? If truth comes out, Varys whispered, the realm will bleed. The lioness will not relinquish her young, nor will the stag yield his seat. We dance on swords. Truth must stand, Ned answered. Varys offered a tragic smile. Duty binds us both. I fear the knots will choke Westeros. The eunuch departed, leaving the candle flames to shiver. Ned lifted the wax seal bearing the direwolf and pressed it to parchment. He wrote to Stannis Baratheon, Lord of Dragonstone, rightful heir should rumors prove true. When the letter was done, he called Jory. Ride swift and silent. The parchment felt heavy as steel. In the flicker of lamplight, Ned swore he saw a shadow behind him, slim, mocking, wearing a silver mockingbird pin. He turned, but the wall was bare. Marked down, on the 6th night of the harvest feast, chaos bloomed. Lord Renly vanished from his chambers. Some said he rode east before dawn with 50 knights of the Stormlands, bannerless. King Robert quarreled with Queen Cersei after too much wine, voices echoing through court until a cup shattered and the king's guard stepped between them. In the melee, 1 white cloak suffered a cut to the cheek, small blood, but the first spilled within the royal apartments since Maegor's day. That same night, a raven from Harrenhal arrived. Lord Walder Frey would not send his levy until winter ended. Gold closed more mouths than steel, and Littlefinger's gold was still at work. Ned's dreams turned jagged. He saw Littlefinger again, head grinning in straw, mouth moving though no sound came. It mouthed names: Catelyn, Lisa, Sansa, power for love, love for power. He woke shivering. Outside, thunder boomed across a moonless sky. Marked down. The next morning, ravens flapped from every rookery in the capital. Renly Baratheon had declared himself king in Highgarden, claiming Robert's children were bastards born of incest. Ser Loras Tyrell rode at his side. The Tyrell bannermen rose like flowers in sudden spring. Ned read the proclamation in the council chamber while lords argued. Pycelle fainted. Varys sighed. The Lion Queen paced, hands clenched. Robert raged, ordered Renly declared traitor, and called for an army. War no longer loomed on a distant horizon. It was here, breathing hot against the gates. And Peter Baelish, dead in the yard, had set the first stone rolling, or perhaps only revealed the slope already beneath their feet.
Honor demanded choices.
Ned looked to the west, the north, the face of his king, and wondered which road led away from ruin. Beneath the floorboards, the city quivered like an arrow about to fly. Marked down. In the days that followed, Ned assembled men loyal to Winterfell and truth. Ser Barristan, cautious but unwavering. Ser Rabar Royce, fresh knight of Vale honor. Even Varys, whose motives were missed but whose warnings rang clear. They met beneath the Godswood's heart tree, where red leaves whispered as if blood still dripped from their edges. The tree had roots older than the city, older than walls. Its ancient face seemed to watch them. We must secure the king, Ned said, and bring him the proof. Then the children will be safe. Ser Barristan bowed. It will require precision, my lord. The king's guard are sworn to the crown, not to any queen or hand. They planned by torchlight, wind after wind. Outside the keep, Renly's loyalists spread broadsheets of treachery. Inside, Lannister guards replaced gold cloaks at key gates. The seas churned with Stormlander galleys. One night, Jory returned from Dragonstone with a sealed answer. Stannis would sail for the capital with fleet and claim, demanding Robert abdicate for lawful succession. The king's brothers would clash like rams upon a mountain path, and the realm beneath would tumble. Ned read the letter twice beneath dripping candles. He thought of Robb, Bran, Arya. He thought of Jon Snow on the wall. He thought of Littlefinger's blood on pale stone. Justice carried a cost. How high would this one rise? Mark down. On the third day of the new moon, Robert summoned Ned to the royal stables. The king wore mail and breastplate, a hammer strapped across his broad back.
Horses stammt, smelling war.
"We ride at dawn," Robert said, voice hoarse. "Renly wants my crown? He'll have to carve it off my corpse. Come, old friend. One more battle for the songs." Ned saw exhaustion in the king's eyes, yet also the boy who once smiled at Winterfell Gate, asking for a wolf's sister. He placed a hand on Robert's shoulder. "The realm cannot bleed so, your grace. Let me speak to your brother." "Speak," Robert spat. "Words are wind. Hammer is iron." He climbed astride his charger with the ease of youth regained. "I was born for war, Ned, and I'll die for it if need be." Ned's heart clenched. Here was prophecy unspoken. If the stag charged the rose, the lion would spring in between, and every petal would drown red. He watched Robert ride into the night, cloak billowing. The cheers of soldiers followed him through the gate. Ned returned to the Tower of the Hand. He opened a chest bound with iron. Inside lay the letters, John Aaron's Book of Lineages, and a scrap of parchment bearing a mockingbird drawn in ink so dark it looked fresh. Littlefinger's shadow lingered in every corner, long as winter. But shadows can be slain by dawn, and dawn always comes, though sometimes at the cost of night's last stars. Ned Stark dipped quill to ink. He began a message meant for Winterfell, for Catelyn's hands, for Robb's swift decision. Above him, thunder growled once more, and he knew the war had finally begun. A war born not of a schemer's whispers, but of men's fragile honor and the thin red line between justice and doom. Outside, the city bells tolled vespers. The sound carried over rooftops to the pitch-soaked boards where, weeks past, a mockingbird's head had rolled. Some said on moonless nights the stone still bore a faint copper stain. Others swore the stain was gone, scrubbed by servants and rain. Truth, like blood, always seeps deeper than men expect. Ned Stark sealed his letter, wax hardening beneath the direwolf. He whispered a pious word to the old gods, another to the new, and held the parchment to his lips. Duty called. Winter waited. The north remembered. And in the distance, wolves howled, heralding a dawn painted red. Autumn's breath turned the high clouds bruise purple, and dusk leaked cold into the corridors of the Tower of the Hand. Eddard Stark's candle cast a wavering halo on the parchment before him, but his ink-black thoughts wandered leagues away, north to Winterfell, west to Riverrun, east across churning seas of rumor. The quill scratched like a restless sparrow. Orders to Ser Helman Tallheart to shore up Moat Cailin. Entreaties to Lord Hoster for grain should the road south fail. A softer line to Catelyn warning of storms beneath the red roofs of the capital. When he sealed the leather satchel and pressed the direwolf into scarlet wax, he felt as though he had lashed a single plank across a gorge and prayed it would hold an army. Hallis Malin knelt to take the packet. The scar on his brow shone pallid in the candlelight. 3 of us ride, M-Lord. We'll keep to the king's road by day and the woods by night. Go swift. Ned clasped Malin's forearm. In Winterfell's name. When they were gone, the room felt too large, the air too thin. The hourglass on the mantel shed a final trickle of sand, time itself slipping its leash. Outside, bells tolled for night prayer. Yet no gods Ned knew would halt the tide he felt rising. Mark down. Dawn found Robb Stark at Winterfell's Godswood Pool, thin mist curling over black water. The ravens had come at first light, one bearing word of fallen leaves in the south, another of coin-marked rebels on the Trident. But it was the third bird, carrying his father's satchel, that clenched Rob's heart. Gray wind paced beside him, fur bristling. He read each letter twice, knuckles whitening. Jon Arryn's death, Littlefinger's fall, Renly's claim, Stannis stirring. Names and crowns spun across his thoughts like axes in a tourney. And at the edge of every paragraph, the stark hand of duty. Ready the North. In the pool's still mirror, he saw his own reflection. A boy's face caught between seasons. Snow dusted the ancient branches overhead, though on the calendar summer yet lingered. He thought of Bran practicing with a bow, of Arya chasing cats along parapets, of Rickon's laughter. If war bled southward, all their laughter might chill to silence. Robb clenched the parchment. Father needs 10,000 northern hearts behind him. Then so he shall have them. That night the call went out to every holdfast. Gather grain, temper swords, recall levies by the first moon of frost. Atop the battlements, great Jon Umber roared approval loud enough to shake ice from shuttered windows. The North, long quiet, flexed its claws. Mark down. In King's Landing, Cersei Lannister studied the fire in her solar hearth as though it held auguries of conquest. Maester Tommen, named for a dead brother, not for her sweet son, read her the Raven's litany. The Tyrell host swelled around Highgarden. The Stormlanders flocked to Renly's green stag banner. Stannis had sent for Sell-Sail captains in bravos. Cersei sipped arbor red, cool against her tongue. So the wolves prepare to bare teeth, she mused. Good. Let them snarl at shadows while lions choose where to bite. Ser Jaime lounged on a window bench, polishing his golden armguard. You mislike shadows, sister. Yet it was a shadow in the yard that started all this. A mistake, Cersei said, lips tightening. Robert thinks himself resolute, lopping off Littlefinger's head. But Baelish knew how to strangle a purse without leaving rope marks. Now the crown's debts bray like mules. Jaime's laugh held a nervous edge. Father will send coin. He always does. The Queen's eyes flashed. Father sends coin when father sees profit. He waits now, measuring which brother's crown shines brightest. If Tywin means to move, he will move for himself. Jaime slid his dagger back into its sheath. Well, I for one would relish a battlefield. Kingsguard white grows rather drab without blood. You will stay by the king. Cersei's voice brooked no dissent. Renly's accusations cannot stand while Robert lives. Keep him living. Jaime smirked. As you command, your grace. Yet he thought of the wild drunken hunts Robert embarked upon. Boars lurking in reeds, horns and hounds, and too much ale. Even lions lost sight of prey when the forest cracked around them. Mark down. At Highgarden, the banners of House Tyrell rippled above ramparts draped with blooming roses. The air smelled of apple tarts and steel polish. Beneath a silk pavilion, Renly Baratheon broke bread with Ser Loras, Brienne of Tarth, and Lord Mathis Rowan while the great September's crystal singer rehearsed hymns for the coronation feast. Robert will never yield, my king, Loras warned, violet eyes intent. He is a creature of war. Renly buttered a heel of bread, smiling. And I am a creature of pageantry. But pageantry wins hearts even as sword points win battles. The small folk adore me. They despise taxes. Robert bleeds them for tourneys he barely remembers. Brienne shifted her weight. Steel cares little for songs, your grace. When armies clash, love flies like geese before winter. Renly's laughter pealed across the pavilion. Yet geese return come spring, dear Brienne, and spring will dawn soon, carried on rose petals and banners of green. Outside, 6,000 blades drilled beneath sunlit walls. Their mail jingled with each practiced wheel, and the wind blew petals from the arbor onto spear points. Some petals stuck crimson as half-dried blood. Mark down. On Dragonstone, Stannis Baratheon stood atop the stone drum's battlements, cloak whipping. The sea hammered basalt below like a relentless smith at forge. Davos Seaworth waited at his shoulder, salt spray dotting the smuggler knight's beard. Lord Stark's letter charts a narrow channel. Stannis handed the parchment back to Davos. If Robert's children are bastards, the throne falls to me. To prove it, I must seize the city before Renly or the lions choke the truth in gold. Davos closed weathered fingers around the document. You have truth and a fleet, M-Lord. But you need men. And coin. Men can be bought. Stannis' jaw tightened. Or broken. And coin. A muscle twitched near Stannis' temple. Dragonstone's coffers are lean, but there are ways. Bravo's lends to kings sworn to repay. I will pledge the Iron Throne itself. Davos saw in Stannis the granite resolve that once held Storm's End for a year. Yet he also saw hunger, an iron fire that would burn ships to embers if need be. In the gull calls overhead, Davos heard omens. Every crown forged in battle cracked along unseen seams. Marked down, the mercenary camp near Hayford Holdfast swelled with new companies. Red-saddled Cohoric horse, three-fingered sellswords from Myr, exiles from Pentos whose tabards bore no sigil at all. By the time Ned Stark returned, this time with 30 picked men under Ser Desmond, the tents extended to the Rush's marshy banks. Night cloaked the host in canvas dark as crow feathers. Cook fires winked like distant hearths. Ned crawled belly down through reeds wet and cold. Jory slunk beside him. Ahead, voices slurred over ale. Talk of a lordling called the Clever Bastard, whispers of a mockingbird coin worth 10 dragons in any purse, boasts that soon the camps would march not on King's Landing, but on Maidenpool to open trade routes for our unseen hand. Ned shared a glance with Jory. This was no aimless rabble. Deeper inside, a pavilion of draped velvet stood lit by lanterns. 2 sellswords guarded its flap. The insignia over the door, a mockingbird perched on a crossed quill and dagger. Ned counted breaths, 1, 2, 3, and signaled. The Northmen struck silent as snowfall. Crossbow strings hummed. Guards crumpled. Ned dove into the pavilion with Jory at his flank. Inside sat a youth of perhaps 20, ink-stained fingers splayed across a map. Hair dark, eyes too large for the narrow face. A mirror ghost of Lord Baelish. Around him, scribes froze, dice still rolling off a leather cup.
Net soort tiphuffert.
Name yourself. The youth's smile uncurled slow as a snake from egg. I am Peter Hill, he said, voice smooth. Bastard of House Baelish, though father seldom spoke of me. You bring steel, Lord Hand. I bring numbers. He tapped the map where black lines formed web spokes. Toll gates, warehouse leases, mill rights along the Windwater. Kill me, Peter Hill continued, and 50,000 garden hands lose coin next harvest. But keep me and your war may end before it starts, because coin buys ships, coin buys food, coin even buys loyalty from kings. My father taught me that much before you took his head. Ned's anger flared. Your father taught treachery, and treachery ends at the block. We each inherit what we can, the youth replied. He cocked his head, studying Ned. There is a debt upon every life now. Kill me and you raise the interest. Jory stepped forward. Bind him. They dragged Peter Hill out under the torch glow. Sel's words erupted in confusion. Some lunged for blades, others backed into shadows. Ned's men fought a fighting retreat, torches knocking over barrels of cheap Myrish rum. Flames leapt from tent to tent, oily brazier sparks catching canvas like dry leaves. By dawn, smoke coiled heavenward, visible from King's Landing's eastern towers. Ned's company rode hard for the city, prisoner in tow. Behind them, emberglow smoldered in the sedges and a mockingbird banner burned to ashes. Marked down, the small folk woke to soot-tinged skies and fear on their tongues. Rumor said the Blackwater itself had caught fire. Rumor said northern rebels marched on the walls. Rumor said the queen had poisoned the king and now the queen's dwarf brother commanded demons. Fear fed on fear. When bakers ran short of flour, anger spilled into Flea Bottom. A mob stormed 3 grain wagons meant for the Red Keep. Gold cloaks cracked skulls until blood slicked cobblestones. Then the mob seized torches and lit the carts themselves, wheat turning to flame and black smoke feathering upward like funeral banners. Ned arrived as fire bells clanged. He took command with harsh order. Seize no man who surrenders. Lash any who incite. Yet as the smoke cleared, he saw children scrabbling for burnt kernels along gutters. His stomach nodded. Winter's shadow reached even here, long and lean. That night, the small council convened in chaos. Pycelle wrung hands over dwindling grain reserves. Varys whispered of conspirators spreading lies to ignite riot. Cersei demanded harsher curfews. Robert roared that steel would sow silence. And through it all, Peter Hill waited in chains outside, guarded by Northmen and Ser Barristan both. "Your Grace," Ned began. "I seized Baelish's bastard at a camp of mercenaries north of the city. He claims commerce ties across half your realm, paid by gold that once sat in the crown's vaults. We must question him." Robert drained a cup, wine dark on his beard. "Question later. First we march. Renly names me a cuckold before the 7 realms? I'll break his banners like twigs. Without grain."
Ned pressed.
"King's Landing eats what I tell it to," Robert thundered. Then the rage cracked, and a sudden weariness washed across his face. He dropped into his chair as if armor weighed thrice its worth. "You do what you must, Ned. Find food, find coin. Just keep this city from tearing itself apart." Ned nodded, heart heavy. He felt as though tasked with holding back the sea. Varys caught his eye, offering a small, sad smile. "Mark down." In the rookery high above Maegor's holdfast, ravens fluttered restless, aware of oncoming storms. Maester Aemon, old Aemon of the Wall, once said ravens know when men scheme. Ned wondered if their black feathers held prophecy. Peter Hill sat on a wooden stool before him, hands manacled, eyes bright as new-minted copper. Ser Barristan stood sentinel at the door. The only light came from gray dawn straining through arrow slits. "You were born of a tavern girl in Gulltown?" Ned began. "An inn on the harbor," the youth corrected. "Father visited between games of chance." "How long have you plotted?" Peter Hill traced the grain of the stool with one finger. "We plotted nothing beyond survival, Lord Stark. Father left me scribes and sums, not swords. I saw markets, tariffs, lords too bloated to notice a coin here, a coin there. I used what he gave me to build safety." Ned's voice hardened. "Safety bought with Sel's words and rumors of rebellion? Better Sel's words sworn to ledger than to vengeance." Hill leaned forward. "You Northmen think honor keeps men loyal, but honor fills no bellies. Gold does. Cut me down, another will rise. Feed me, I can feed the realm. At what price?" The youth's smile revealed small, even teeth. "Price is just another word for truth." He gestured to a parchment ledger Ned had taken from his tent. "Turn to page 5. You'll find a list of guild loans to the crown. Repay them now, goodwill returns thrice-fold. Delay, and they fund Renly's roses." Ned opened the book. Rows of numbers slanted like tiny soldiers. Smiths, masons, spicers, each owed crowns enough to forge a fleet. Baelish's ghost whispered from between the columns. "Spend tomorrow to pay for yesterday." He closed the ledger. "One man's arithmetic cannot save a realm already bled. Then perhaps a dire wolf and a mockingbird can together." Peter Hill's eyes gleamed. "Let me serve as your counter." Father plotted for himself. "I will plot for the realm, if the realm pays fair." Ned saw in the youth a dangerous mirror. Fewer years, but the same cool mind that once made Baelish a master of coin. He thought of Cersei's spies, of Robert's rashness, of Renly's rose-bright nights. Useful tools come shrouded in thorns. "Ser Barristan," Ned said, never taking eyes from Hill. "Have this man confined in the Tower of the Hand under guard. No letters, no visitors save myself." The King's Guard saluted. Peter Hill bowed his head as the chains clicked, but the faintest curve of lips betrayed triumph. Ned felt a prickle of unease, like a wolf sniffing smoke before fire breaks the treeline. Mark down. Word of Renly's self-coronation reached Riverrun on a rain-swollen morning. Catelyn Stark stood beneath a stone arch, rivers roaring below, and watched banners furled against the downpour. Lord Hoster dozed in a chair by the hearth, breath rattling. Edmure fretted over rivermen musters. Yet Catelyn's mind dwelt on letters from Ned. Littlefinger executed, Stannis stirring, the North arming. Her world had tightened to ink and feathers. She pressed a palm to her stomach where dread nodded. If Robert fell, if Renly fell, if Stannis fell, if crowns spun like coins upon a tavern table, what then for the children of her blood? Sansa trapped in a lion's den, Arya lost among swordsmen, Bran small yet still, Robb marching to shadows. She closed her eyes and offered silent prayer to the river gods and to the old gods of moss and root. Let my family stand whole when the tide recedes. Nothing else matters. Mark down. Across the Blackwater, the sound of hammers echoed day and night as shipwrights hurried to patch worm-eaten hulls. But the king's purse lay thin. Ned rode to the Iron Bank envoy, a sallow man named Tycho Nestoris, and negotiated 3 days straight beneath flickering oil lamps. He pledged royal granaries against grain yet unplanted. He pledged Crownland's oak against mast poles not yet felled. Nestoris's quill squeaked in delight. By dawn of the 4th day, coin flowed, too little, too late, but enough to hire 50 grain barges. As he emerged, blinking into sunlight, Ned saw a flight of Lannister crimson cloaks riding for the gate of the gods. At their head rode Ser Kevan, grim and silent. Word quickly spread. Lord Tywin marched east with 20,000, gold banners bright as sunrise. That night, Ned Stark dreamed of snow falling on King's Landing. The city lay silent under white drifts, but when he brushed a tower, the snow stained his gloves red. Beneath the white gleam, rooftops burned with hidden flame. He woke before dawn, sweat chilled on his skin. A raven croaked on the sill, bearing a black ribbon sealed with dragonstone wax. His hands trembled as he broke it. Lord Stark, I sail with full fleet at first tide. Trust no one wearing golden chains. If the throne is false, truth must hold the sword. Signal by beacon when the city is ready. Stannis Baratheon. Ned crushed the letter. The board he played upon now bristled with pieces of every color, each player blind to the other's movements. He thought of Littlefinger's head rolling, of Peter Hill's cold eyes, of Robert's hunger for battle. The game had begun long before the first sword was drawn. Every heartbeat now was a move. He summoned Ser Barristan, Jory, and the few commanders he trusted. Atop the tower of the White Sword, overlooking streets winding like veins, they drafted a root and branch defense. Hold the granaries at Maegor's Hill, garrison the Mudgate, secure the Red Keep's water cisterns, bribe the city smiths to sabotage siege engines should Tywin join the Roses. And Robert? Jory asked, voice hoarse. Ned's gaze drifted east where dawn's rim gilded black clouds. Robert is a storm. We anchor what we can and ride it out. Mark down. The king left the city 1 week later. Robert donned mottled green leather, fat boar lances strapped across 4-pack mules. He kissed Cersei's cheek, ignoring her flinch. He clapped Ned's shoulder with bruising affection. Keep my house from burning, old friend. I'll bring back a boar bigger than old Nan's nightmares. Ned forced a smile. The gods keep you. Yet, as he watched the procession disappear into Kingswood's shadow, he felt a fresh crack open across the realm's fragile shell. If Robert did not return or returned sealed in wine, what oath could hold armies from each other's throats? That night, thunder rolled over Blackwater Bay. Lightning forked, illuminating Dragonstone's distant towers like ghost-pale fingers. Peter Hill's cell remained dark, but inside, the youth whispered in Valyrian to himself, reciting sums like prayer beads. Outside his door, a Northman guard shifted, unaware of the scratch of quill faint beyond stone walls. Mark down. 2 days after Robert's departure, a starving hound lunged at a butcher's stall in Fishmonger Square. The stall toppled, pig heads rolling. A child snatched one and fled, chased by a butcher's cleaver. Someone loosed a brick. Gold cloaks waded in, blood met cobble. Riots spread through Flea Bottom like fire along lacquered wood. Thieves emptied wine cellars, torchlight flickering against tenement walls. Ned mounted and rode with Ser Desmond, swords smacking scabbards, trying to carve order from hysteria. In the Red Keep, Cersei summoned her maesters. Release the last of the grain stores, she commanded, eyes hard. Tell them it is the Queen's gift. and double every ration given the gold cloaks. Pycelle bowed, but as he left, he heard her hiss to Jaime. When my gift ends, they will remember who fed them. Ned returned at dawn, cloak frayed by grasping hands. He found Sansa on a terrace, staring at smoke columns beyond the city walls. Her tears traced silver lines on cheeks gone hollow. "Father," she whispered, "I dreamed of a mockingbird perched on a direwolf's paw, plucked fur for its nest. The wolf bled but did not wake.
Ned knelt, wiped her tears.
The wolf wakes now." Inwardly he feared she spoke truer than she knew. Mark down. Storm's End shook with the surf's assault, yet Renly Baratheon's banners dazzled the courtyard. Green stag reared on gold, ringed by red roses. Ser Courtenay Penrose yielded reluctantly after a bloodless siege of words. Now Renly held 2 great seats of power. Loras Tyrell met him atop the parapet. A raven. Robert's gone hunting, Stannis sails, Tywin marches east. Renly grinned beneath his feathered helm. Then we ride for the capital while the great lords chase ghosts. Have the company's muster at first light. The horizon pulsed with storm-cloud fire. Loras watched lightning caress distant water and felt a chill knot of wind. He touched Renly's mailed arm. "Your Grace, storms do not choose sides. Be wary of all." Renly turned, and in that flash his face seemed older, lips drawn tight. "I am weary of waiting, my love. Crowns are not plucked. They must be forged while the metal is hot." Lightning lit the sky once more, and for an instant their shadows fused on stone. Mark down. Within the Tower of the Hand, Peter Hill sat opposite Ned across a narrow table. A single candle sputtered. Scrolls and ledgers sprawled like battlefield maps between them. "The guilds will forgive half the crown's debt," Hill said, voice steady, "if granted tariff exemption on goods into Bravos for 6 months. Bravos is at war with Pentos," Ned pointed out, "which makes our grain doubly valuable." Hill's chains clinked as he leaned forward. "Send 3 ships under northern banners. The Bravosi will call it neutral trade." Ned rubbed weary eyes. "What binds my trust, boy? I cut your father down. You cut the weed but sowed the seed. Water it and reap harvest." Hill smiled. "Or burn it and starve." Ned said, "Cool down." He thought of Littlefinger's silver tongue, of how half the court once danced to its tune. But he also recalled Maester Luwin's lesson. In winter, a man choose between bracken and bark. Bark may choke, but bracken may kill. "Very well," he said at last. "I will petition the guilds. But you remain in chains until Robert returns." Hill inclined his head as if accepting a coronet. "Return or not, the game plays on."
Ned stiffened.
Yet before he could respond, the chamber door burst open. Ser Barristan's white cloak billowed. "My lord," the old knight said, voice ragged with urgency. "A hunter's party rides hard from the Kingswood. The king is wounded." Ned rose, chair scraping stone. "In the armory, gather leeches and bandages. Alert Grand Maester Pycelle." Barristan hesitated. "Pycelle is already at the king's side. Then summon all. I ride at once." He strode into the corridor, boot heels echoing. Behind him, Peter Hill watched, eyes gleaming like 2 tiny new moons. Mark down. Crossbow bolts jutted from the boar's carcass, but still its tusks twitched when Ned arrived at the royal pavilion. Robert lay on a feather mattress, linen clutched to a gut wound seeping dark through the bandages. His breath rasped like a broken bellows. Cersei knelt beside, golden hair veiling her face in false devotion.
"Ned," Robert gasped.
Wine-reek clung to him. "I was magnificent. Did you see?" Ned grasped his hand. "What foolery possessed you to hunt drunk?" Robert's laugh turned to coughing. "I was born possessed. Listen now. Paper. Quill." Pycelle handed Ned the tools. Robert dictated a royal proclamation. Eddard Stark named protector of the realm and regent until Joffrey comes of age. Cersei's eyes widened. Pycelle's quill trembled. Robert's next words slurred. "Teach the boy honor. Drink less sweet wine." His grip slackened. Ned signed as witness. Ser Barristan stamped the royal seal. Cersei's face hardened like a mask cast in gold leaf. That night, Ned prowled campfires outside the city, sleepless. Robert's moans drifted on the breeze, mingling with cricket chirps. The realm balanced on the edge of that sound. One breath, one slip of steel, and every vow, every letter, every plan would fall to blood. At moonset, a raven beat wings across the stars, bound northwest. This message bore 3 words. The king dies. Far below, beneath red-tiled roofs, a youth in chains whispered to the candle flame, and the candle guttered out. Mark down. Dawn crept over the bay in mournful silvers. Robert Baratheon, the stag king who once felled princes with hammer blows, breathed his last. Thunder muted behind clouds as though the sky held breath in mourning. When the city bells tolled, mothers clutched babes and smiths let anvils cool. The reign of Robert I ended not with the crash of battle as bards had sworn, but with the gurgle of a dying boar and the rasp of sheets. Cersei moved swiftly. Before Ned could muster the council, Lannister guards lined the throne room. Joffrey sat the Iron Throne in boyish rigidity, golden crown too large. When Ned presented Robert's sealed decree, Ser Boros Blunt snarled that the Queen forbade it. The room split. Kingsguard white, Lannister red, Stark gray in the cloaks of northern guards. Swords whispered from scabbards. Varys swallowed loudly. Grand Maester Pycelle shook, uncertain which sigil to bend toward. Ned stepped forward, voice iron. The king named me protector. Stand aside in the realm's name. Jaime Lannister's smile was cold glass. In whose realm, Stark? Mine? Yours? Or the wolves howling outside our gates? The crackle of tension filled the hall like kindling catching spark. Mark down. On Dragonstone, Stannis boarded his flagship Fury as ravens shrieked overhead. The message burned cold in his fist. Robert dead, Cersei rules, Stark contested. Davos watched the fleet unfurl black sails against morning mist and felt the world tilt on its keel. Raise anchor, Stannis commanded. We sail for justice. Justice, Davos feared, would drink deep of men's blood before it slept. Mark down. Within Peter Hill's dim cell, the boy hummed a Gulltown lullaby. He felt, rather than heard, the tremor in the stones. The moment power shifted like a weight on balancing scales. His chains lay open on the table before him, key unattended. Courtesy of a gold-cloaked guard whose gambling debts vanished after a mysterious purse found his door. Hill slipped free, flexing wrists. He donned a plain brown cloak, pockets heavy with ledger pages and promissory drafts. At the door he paused, listening to distant bells tolling the king's death. Numbers, he whispered, tasting the word. Numbers never die. And he stepped into the stairwell's shadows, just another clerk among a palace of panicked lords. Mark down. High in the Tower of the Hand, Sansa Stark stood at a window, tears glistening. She watched sparrows scatter from a rooftop as knights jostled into formation below, banners whipping in hot wind. The sky seemed to lower, heavy with storm, though no rain fell. Somewhere in the maze of courtyards, her father's voice rose sharp, then a clash of steel cut it off. She pressed trembling fingers to the cold stone sill. Far off, a lone wolf howled, a sound impossible in King's Landing, yet she heard it, clear as bells. The howl lingered long after silence returned, echoing inside her heart. Mark down. Night fell upon King's Landing like a shroud stitched of smoke. Flames licked rooftops where torches flared in shouted confusion. Gold cloaks patrolled, swords drawn, but the small folk kept to shadows, fearing what dawn might reveal. In the Tower of Maegor, Cersei viewed the city from a balcony, Jaime at her side. Let them grieve, she said. By dawn they will love another king. Jaime's hand touched his sword hilt. And the wolf. Wolves are hunted, Cersei murmured. But first we break their pack. In the courtyard below, a Stark guardsman cried out as Lannister men surged. The cry faded fast. Above, the moon hid its face behind storm banks. And across the darkened bay, Sails as black as dragon scales cut silently toward the harbor lights, bearing the fiery heart of Stannis and the promise of fire and shadow to come. Marked down. In the God's Wood of Winterfell, Robb Stark knelt before the Heart Tree, reading by torch the raven letter carried from the south. Robert dead, Ned in peril, lions at the throat. Gray wind paced, hackles bristling. Around them, dripping leaves whispered as though voices of the old gods urged haste. Robb rose, torch casting wolf-toothed shadows across his face. "Summon the banners," he told Great John Umber. "Every man who can hold spear or axe rides south at dawn." Great John's roar shook ravens from branches overhead. "To the king in the north," he bellowed. The cry rolled over ramparts, over the hot forge fires, over the quiet tombs where dead Starks slept. Somewhere deep in the crypts, ice cracked. Winterfell stirred, and winter itself seemed to breathe an iron sigh. Far away, Ned Stark's fate hung in scales. But in the north, duty rose like a cold sun, and young wolves readied their fangs. Marked down. The game of kingdoms, once content to shuffle pennies on a master's ledgers, now spilled coins and crowns alike onto blood-soaked board. Littlefinger's headless shadow stretched long. Baelish's bastard walked free with numbers sharper than knives. Wolves gathered at Moat Cailin, lions unsheathed claws around the Boy King. Flowers marched in feudal spring, dragons stirred upon black sails. Where masters once whispered in vaults, armies now thundered across river and road. And in the heart of that storm, Eddard Stark clenched a sword hilt slick with blood not yet shed, his honor drawn tight as a bowstring. Above him, the Iron Throne gleamed like a barbed crown in waiting. Beneath him, stone remembered every treacherous footfall. The night held its breath. At the edge of hearing, ravens beat wings toward endless dark. When they returned, they would carry tidings of men's rise or fall, of kingdoms new forged or old shattered, of wolves howling beneath southern moons and mockingbirds singing songs of coin over graves. But for now, silence reigned, heavy, pregnant, poised, and all the realm, from the frozen mileposts of the north to the coral groves of Dorne, braced for dawn's first sword to whistle through the air. A shiver ran the length of the throne room's marble floor as Eddard Stark stepped beneath the soaring iron ribs of the ceiling, flanked by Ser Barristan Selmy and 20 Northmen arrayed in wolf-gray cloaks. Outside, bells tolled a dirge for King Robert Baratheon, their melancholy knell drifting between colonnades and echoing in the vastness like the calls of distant beasts. Torchlight flickered behind Ned's escort, but the chamber's heart remained thick with shadow. Above, the Iron Throne loomed. A jagged silhouette crouched atop its dais like a predator in wait. Joffrey Baratheon occupied that terrible seat, legs rigid, knuckles white on the points of forged blades. His golden crown sat crooked upon soft blonde curls, and the boy's lips trembled, unsure whether to sneer or quake. To his right, Queen Cersei stood draped in black silk sewn with rubies that winked like droplets of fresh blood. Ser Jaime lounged below her, thumbs hooked in his gilded sword belt, expression a cat's ease before leaping at a trapped mouse. The remaining Kingsguard split like pale statues. Hound at the foot of the dais, Meryn Trant half hidden behind a pillar, Ser Boros Blunt sweating beneath his helm as if armor had become furnace. Around them, courtiers lined the walls, velvet, brocade, sewn jewels. Yet every rich raiment failed to mask fear. Rumor had raced ahead of Ned's approach, that the hand bore Robert's last decree naming himself protector, that northern steel marched with him. Some small folk perched on benches craned to glimpse their savior. Others cowered, fearful of drawn blades no parchment could stay. Ned halted 3 paces from the throne. Ser Barristan announced his name in a voice that rang clear and mournful. Then silence fell, tense as the pause between thunder and flash.
Ned bowed stiffly.
He held out the parchment, broken wax still crusted with the stag's seal. "In King Robert's own hand," he said, words heavy. "He named me regent and protector until the true heir attains his majority." Cersei's brows arched. Her hand fluttered to her collar as though choking on unseen pearl wire. "True heir, Lord Stark?" she asked, almost sweetly. "The realm has its true heir before you, my son." She brushed a gloved finger down Joffrey's arm. The boy straightened, chin tilting. Ned forced calm into his breath. "Your Grace," he addressed Joffrey, though his eyes held Cersei's. "Your father's dying wish included wise counsel, a regency. Until you come of age, the realm needs peace, not quarrel, to weather the winter gathering." Joffrey's voice cracked. "Why should a wolf guard a lion's den? I am king now. I will judge who rules and who kneels." Ned unrolled the parchment so all could see Robert's bold, wavering hand. "By law and love of the realm." "Law?" Jaime Lannister cut in, laughter sharp. "A man waving parchment in a hall of swords invokes law only to hide a lack of steel." Ser Barristan stepped forward. "I witnessed the king's seal. The words are lawful." Cersei's eyes hardened like frozen emeralds. "And I witnessed my husband's final delirium. Shall we let fever choose our fates?" She snatched the parchment, tore it in two with a dry, ripping sound that echoed like cloth in a crypt. Fragments fluttered to the marble between them. Gasps whispered through the hall. Ned's heart thundered. He felt every Northman behind him tense, hands drifting toward hilts. "Seize them," the queen commanded. Gold cloaks poured from archways, hundreds, dwarfing Ned's meager escort. Yet many hesitated, glancing at Ser Barristan, at Ned's grim face, at their own trembling hands. The Lord Commander raised his blade an inch, unwilling to strike, unwilling to yield. Jaime's sword flashed free. With predatory grace he descended, boot heels clacking. "If you will not bend, Stark, you will break." Ned lifted his chin. "My lord, do not make me bleed before white cloaks and children." "Children? We lost that innocence when first we swung steel." Jaime's eyes glittered. The hall reached a stillness so absolute Ned imagined hearing ice form. Then, unexpectedly, the balance shifted. Janos Slynt, commander of the City Watch, strode forward in gold cloak, visor raised. "My men will not draw on those who protect the realm," he announced. Many gold cloaks lowered spears. Murmurs rustled among Lannister retainers. Cersei's face went bloodless. Fear flickered in Joffrey's eyes. Jaime snarled, "Traitors wear cloth of every color, it seems." He advanced, but Barristan's blade met his with a long, ringing note, old steel holding back gilded kit. A hush fell, broken only by the hush. Ned spoke, voice low yet carrying. "Ser Jaime, yield and spare King's Landing an ocean of blood. We will counsel together." A scream cut through the air. From a side corridor darted Arya Stark, hair wild, wooden practice sword in hand, 2 guards chasing. She swung at a Lannister man near the dais. He staggered, startled. The chaos shattered the stalemate. Steel rasped from leather. Someone shouted, "Northman!" In a heartbeat, the hall erupted. Ned lunged, desperate to reach his daughter. Ser Desmond grappled 2 gold cloaks. Jory parried a mace. Arya ducked beneath a crimson cloak swing, darting behind a pillar. Cersei shrieked for her son. Jaime and Barristan clashed, blade to blade, sparks scattering. Slynt's men tried to herd civilians to safety, but panic turned them into swirling eddies of flesh. Ned's cane cracked across a swordsman's knee. Ice was lost in Winterfell, yet his northern heart found its weight in the iron rod. He caught Arya's wrist. "Back! Stay behind the guard!" But even as he spoke, Ser Marentrant closed on them, plate gleaming. Ned shoved Arya aside, raising the cane, too slow. A jet-black blur hurled into Trant. Sandor Clegane barreled past, tackling Kingsguard and knocking sword wide. "Out of my way!" The hound's voice rasped like gravel. He spared Ned a glance, feral, unreadable, then stormed toward the dais, perhaps to guard the Boy King, perhaps to slake some private hunger for battle. Ned ushered Arya toward Slynt's cluster of watchmen. "Protect her with your lives." Slynt nodded, teeth gritted. Across the chamber, Cersei retreated behind guards. Jaime disengaged Barristan with a sweeping strike, driving the old knight back. Already corpses blotted the marble. Yet the tide favored neither side. Too many men balked to kill comrades who yesterday shared bread. Ned raised his voice. Enough! Lay down arms. Some heeded. Some did not. A panicked page hurled a spear. It grazed Joffrey's arm where he huddled behind the Iron Throne. The boy shrieked. Cersei pulled him close, eyes murderous. Jaime saw red. With a roar, he renewed assault on Barristan. The old knight parried, but age weighed. His heel slipped on blood. Jaime's pommel struck his helm. Barristan toppled.
Ned sprinted.
He thrust his cane between Jaime's legs, tripping him. Gold-clad knight and graying wolf crashed in a tangle. Jaime's blade skittered. Ned's cane snapped. They grappled arm, or against fur-lined wool. Should have stayed in the north, Jaime hissed. Ned headbutted him. Pain flared. Jaime cursed, slammed an armored elbow into Ned's wounded leg. The knee buckled. Ned collapsed, breath stolen by agony. Above them, a crossbow twanged. A bolt struck the throne's armrest, shattering steel barbs. Silence surged, sudden and absolute. The brawl slowed as if time thickened. Peter Hill stood in a gallery overlooking the hall, crossbow lowered. In his free hand, he brandished a parchment rolled with green ribbon, one of his father's many promissory notes. His voice rang, prematurely deep for youth, carrying an odd calm. Enough blood lost to debts not yet due. All coin in this hall belongs to the realm. All men here owe it, not to wolves nor lions nor stags, but to bread, to winter, to children's bellies. Lay down steel, or by nightfall half the city will burn for want of grain. Eyes lifted, gold cloaks, Lannister men, Northmen. Even Cersei paused, bewildered. Hill fired his second quarrel into the vaulted roof where sparks rained harmless. He pitched the bow aside, spread empty hands. I am unarmed. Who among you will kill me and still claim right? Confusion rippled. In that heartbeat of uncertainty, Ned staggered to feet, blood pounding in ears. If you fear famine, he shouted, stand down. By Robert's oath, I will secure grain for all. Hill met his gaze across distance, chin lifting, as if ceding something unspoken. The first swords clattered to marble. A gold cloak stepped back. A stark man lowered axe. One by one, exhaustion overcame fury. Jaime retrieved his blade but did not raise it again, eyes flicking to Joffrey's pale face. Cersei drew a hissing breath. She pressed lips to her son's ear, whispered,
Joffrey glared icy hatred at Ned.
Then Cersei raised a white silk kerchief, fluttering. We yield for now, she declared, bitterness dripping thick. But note this, Lord Stark. A debt unsatisfied returns with interest. Ned sagged as if winter wind blew through bone. Marked down. Hours later, the tower of the Hand's great hall became triage. Maesters stitched gashes, laid poultices. Pages mopped floors streaked rows by candlelight. Outside, the city's bells quieted, though distant shouts lingered like dying echoes. Ned sat before the hearth, leg wrapped, pain flaring each breath. Peter Hill faced him, wrists manacled anew but eyes bright. You saved lives, Ned allowed. Yet I question your price. Hill shrugged. Numbers, Lord Stark. Swords slash throats. Numbers strangle kingdoms. I chose the cheaper corpse. Speak plain. Whose side are you on? Whichever side keeps books balanced.
Waar bankrupts?
Want proof? Look south. Tyrell gold flows like arbor wine only so long as fields stay untrampled. Look west. Lannister mines still flow, but each ingot buys a blade that bleeds profit away. Ned stared into the flames. Put aside sermon of coin. Why risk crossbow bolt to halt battle? Hill smiled. An echo of his father's fox-bent grin, yet tinged with earnestness. Because if lions slew wolves and wolves returned north, grain would rot unshipped. And a boy like me, born behind kitchens, starves first. Self-interest masquerades as mercy. Call it what you will.
Ned sighed.
Your father's tongue again. Perhaps, but I offer you the same I offered him once. Ledger for sword. Make me master of coin. Allow me seal to renegotiate debts. I will feed kings landing through winter. And in return, A seat at the table. A chance to live.
Ned Wade possibilities.
Baelish's plot still stung, but Hill had proven leverage beyond cunning. Bravery to stand unarmed. Yet could a wolf trust a mockingbird? He resolved to keep Hill close, caged hawk rather than freed snake. "I will consider," he said. Hill bowed, chains clinking. Mark down. That night brought shrill wind from Blackwater Bay. In Maegor's holdfast, Cersei paced her bedchamber, Jaime seated on a cushioned chest polishing scratches from gold-plate armor. "The Northman corners us," she snarled. "Gold cloaks question my orders. Pycelle enshrines stark decrees in ledgers. Our father marches but may balk if Tyrells hold Renly's leash. And now this bastard of Baelish stirs merchants to rebellion against royal tariffs." Jaime rolled shoulders. "Then perhaps time to cut knots rather than untie them. Assassins." Cersei's lips curved thin. "Against Stark? Risky. His honor is shield. If he dies, I lose pretext of lawful rule. There are softer blades," Jaime mused. He tapped a dagger on armor. "Who still controls the king's children?" Cersei's gaze slid to a cradle where Myrcella slept, golden hair bright in moonlight. Tommen dozed in a corner bed. Joffrey paced the balcony, silent. "They are pawns," she admitted. "But pawns forced across board may become queens." Jaime's grin flashed. "Then we move them." She considered, eyes glittering. "Very well. At first light, you sail with Myrcella to Sunspear, proposal of alliance. Her hand for Prince Tristanes. Martells care little for wolves or lions, but they'll not spurn hostage and bride. Tommen I keep near. Joffrey I crown and shield with the faith." Jaime's expression faltered. "Leave you here, sister? I have knives of my own." She caressed his cheek. "Go. In your absence I shall lull the wolf with smiles and chains of parchment." Jaime kissed her forehead, uncertain. Yet he rose. The plan bore Lannister cunning. Divide threats, fortify flanks, mass claws until strike. Outside, winter's first cold star cut through clouds, gleaming cruel as a spearhead. Mark down. A dragonstone, thunder cracked. Stannis' fleet rode hard beneath bruised sky. Black sails snapped, displaying crowned stag within fiery heart. On the forecastle, Melisandre of Asshai, robes the color of drying blood, lifted arms in invocation, red gemstones at throat pulsing. Davos Seaworth joined Stannis at prow. Storm lanterns painted the Lord's stern face. "King's Landing fights itself," Davos said. "All the easier to take." Stannis tapped knuckles on railing. "But we do not seize chaos as a thief. We bring law. Law might drown in Maegor's Bay, M-Lord, if lions and roses close gates." Melisandre's low voice drifted. "Light devours shadow. The fire shows a city red with blood. Only Azor Ahai reborn shall usher dawn." Stannis' brow furrowed. "I am no savior of songs, only a man who keeps vows." She smiled, lips curving serpentine. "And yet the flames do not lie, sire." Davos felt chill despite warm lanterns. All around, men whispered of the Red Woman's visions. Shadows and candle smoke, shapes of crowned stags wreathed in flame, a wolf chained, a rose wilting, a lion's head dripping molten gold. Prophecies breed fear. Fear sharpens swords, but sometimes it also guides hands to ruin. Mark down. In Riverrun's great hall, Catelyn Stark convened lords of the Riverlands. Edmure paced. Lady Brienne stood sentinel. Brynden Blackfish Tully leaned on map table. News of King's Landing's turmoil had arrived. Ravens describing near battle in the throne room sparked debate like flint on dry straw. "We ride south," Edmure insisted. "Robb marches. If riverlords follow, our rivers become shield against lions." Lord Jason Mallister countered. "If we leave, Tywin crosses the Golden Tooth into an empty realm. Our folk burn." Catelyn lifted a hand. "Family, duty, honor. Family first. My husband stands in peril. Duty to defend our lands. Honor to keep vows we swore to crown." She inhaled. "There is one path answering all three. We meet Robb at the Twins." Walder Frey's crossing Grant's road to King's Landing and blocks Lannisters from eastward march. We secure it, hold lines of retreat, then choose whether to press or protect. Murmurs rippled. Brynden smiled faint. A sharp weaving, niece. Edmure sighed. Then ride we shall. But Fry coins tolls in daughters' dowries and broken troth. How do we buy his bridge? Caitlyn's jaw set. We bring what Walder Fry craves most. Opportunity to stand on winning side before victory declared. Offer his sons' husbands to my daughters, alliances to northern bannermen. He will bend. So resolved, horns sounded. The riverlands stirred, banners unfurled. Silver fish, blue fork, harps and red stalls. Autumn wind carried their promise south like rust-colored leaves. Mark down. Day broke over King's Landing swathed in stagnant haze. Ned Stark limped along ramparts atop the Red Keep, overlooking streets recovering from prior day's violence. Vendors reopened stalls, charred with smoked in alleys. Yet tension hung beneath routine like a taut string. Ser Barristan joined him, face lined deeper than dawn before. We averted slaughter, the old knight observed. Yet we hold a fragile truce.
Ned nodded.
My men rotate with gold cloaks to keep peace. But debts run deeper than wounds. Supplies wane. Barristan watched harbor masts rocking. Stannis sails. I know. He will expect loyalty. Ned's breath misted. Loyalty I cannot promise until I seat rightful ruler. Robert's heir or truth if rumor proves. I require proof. Jon Arryn sought such proof, Barristan murmured. He died. Ned's eyes hardened. I will not share his fate without closing the circle. Today I summon Gendry. The Baratheon smith's apprentice Arryn visited. And I shall speak to every bastard in the city. If they bear seed of the king, the lie cannot stand. Barristan bowed. I shall stand with you. Ned felt gratitude deeper than words. Mark down. Below, in Flea Bottom's labyrinthine alleys, Arya Stark crept between laundry lines. Jory's escort lost her in chaos earlier. Though safe with Janos Slint overnight, she slipped from guards at dawn, drawn by curiosity and guilt. She clutched her wooden practice sword and needle, the thin Bravosi blade Jon gifted her, hidden beneath tunic. The city smelled of fish heads and spilled wine. She heard whispers of wolf girl, lion queen, bastard king, of red priestess on black ships, of grain rot. Faces blurred, thin children, grim soldiers, old women hawking onion pies. Arya's heart panged. Winterfell seemed a dream of white towers and gray dogs, unreal in this steaming warren. She ducked into a smithy's back door where hammer thuds rang. Inside, a broad-shouldered youth with king-black hair and wide blue eyes worked steel, sweat-streaked arms thick with muscle. Arya stared. Gendry, the boy with bull helm Sansa once giggled at. He noticed her, paused. What d'you want, little sparrow? Lord Stark sent for you, Arya blurted. Well, maybe not me specifically, but I'm Arya Stark. She squared shoulders. Gendry's brows rose. Thought high folk kept to castles. Castles get boring. She handed him Ned's summons she stole from a courier bag. He wiped soot, red halting. They think I'm important? Arya shrugged. My father says bastards aren't shameful if they're good people. He wants to talk. Gendry frowned. I've work, but curiosity warred with wariness. Outside, a commotion erupted, gold cloaks pushing through crowd. Shouts, seize the bull boy. Queen's orders. Arya tugged Gendry's arm. Time to go. They fled through rear alley, over pigsty wall, down canal where rats skittered. Gendry tossed her onto a cart. They rolled beneath drooping sails. Chase pounded behind. When they finally shook pursuit, the city's eastern riverbank rose before them. Dingy wharves reeked of tar. Gendry breathed hard. Why would Queen want me? Arya bit lip. Because you look like the late king. He blinked, sudden comprehension heavy. Silence stretched. Let's find my father, she said. They walked north, wary of new hunters. Mark down. In the tower of the Hands' war room, Ned studied a map cluttered with markers. Peter Hill, in fresh doublet of sober gray, pointed to river routes. If Tyrell host moves up the Rose Road, they'll choke your grain barges at Long Table. But send them by sea, old galleys from Blacktide, they bypass Roses entirely. Blacktide is iron-born, Ned warned. The Krakens care not whom they rob. Coin tames Kraken if shipped in daylight with crown sigils. Besides, their lord remains hostage ward of your friend Stannis. Fear of retribution buys honesty.
Ned exhaled.
Arrange it. Slint's men will escort. Hill inclined head, triumphant. Jory entered, arm bloody bandaged. My lord, the queen requests audience in court this evening. His tone suggested trap. Ned's jaw set. I will attend, but number swords discreetly in galleries. Jory nodded, understanding heavy. Markdown. Evening cloaked the red keep in crimson gloom. Torches cast halos on banners above throne dais where Cersei waited, draped in morning black trimmed gold. Beside her, Grand Maester Pycelle clutched scroll. Joffrey perched on a smaller seat, glancing about. Ned advanced with Ser Barristan and a single wolf banner guard. He bowed.
Cersei's smile barely bent lips.
Protector Stark, she began, emphasizing title with acid. We have discovered unbearable insult. Grain stores at Storm's End stolen by Tyrell men under guise of Renly's war levy. Famine threatens the Stormlands. Ned measured words. Then we must broker relief. Renly's host marches north. His rear supply lines thin. Exactly. She flicked hand. I propose joint mission. Lannister and Stark men share grain convoys to Storm's End. Prove Crown's benevolence to common folk. Barristan's brow furrowed. A cunning overture. Tie Ned's forces to Lannister wagons, placing wolves under Lion Watch far from capital.
Ned answered slowly.
I shall send 50 wagons escorted by Captain Desmond. Your house may do likewise, but I remain here. King's Landing requires the Protector's presence. Cersei's eyes narrowed. Very well. Your loyalty to the small folk is admirable. She signaled Pycelle. The maester shuffled forward, unrolling parchment. An edict of peace between houses Stark and Lannister, to last 6 moons or until the harvest is secured. He offered Quill.
Ned hesitated.
In the hush he sensed deeper snare, but to refuse seemed callous to starving realms. He dipped Quill and signed. Cersei followed, flourish grand. Pycelle stamped wax. I will sleep easier, Cersei purred. Knowing wolves and lions hunt together, Ned inclined head, though unease chafed. Allies of necessity, not trust. Markdown. Long after midnight, Ned retired to his solar. A fire crackled low. Outside, sea winds rattled shutters. He sank into chair, leg throbbing. Ice absent, cane broken, parchment shredded. Yet still he fought. Footsteps approached. Varys slid from drapes like a pale moth. My lord, shadows lengthen. Jaime's swift ship left with princess aboard. Soon Martells hold sweet Myrcella. What chessboard sees queen sacrifice daughter for Southron shield? Ned's shoulders sagged. Then lions prepare siege from sand shipside. Indeed, Varys breathed. And Tywin draws nigh, a pincer to close upon our city. Unless Stannis strikes first. Ned's voice low. Stannis may not distinguish lion from wolf in his fury. Varys clasped hands. You must place pieces carefully. This Peter Hill, useful yet treacherous. The Queen's truce, offered to unchain swords later. Winter marches, my lord. I fear we near the hour where men choose darkness or dawn. Ned stared into flame until embers glowed fierce. He thought of Catelyn's letters, Rob's summons, his children's faces. Honor had guided him thus far, yet honor sat lonely in heart when armies closed. Still, he could do naught else. Help me keep the peace, he told Varys, voice ragged. Whatever it takes. The eunuch's eyes glimmered. I serve the realm. If realm survives, we both triumph. Markdown. Dawn spilled gray over the Blackwater. Arya and Gendry reached North Gate escorted by a handful of watchmen loyal to Slint. But crossbows bristled on battlements. Lannister guards controlling gate-barred passage. Orders of the Queen. No one exits without seal, Sentinel barked. Arya scowled. She tugged Gendry aside behind a wagon. We'll find another way. But horns blared upriver. They looked. Black sails studded horizon, royal stag burning red in dawning light. Stannis, Gendry murmured. Panic surged among dockhands. Soldiers scrambled along walls. Arya's pulse hammered. If those ships block harbor, Father might need us inside. A decision crystallized. They would return to Red Keep. She grabbed Gendry's hand. This way, quick. They vanished among fleeing merchants as First War drums beat from river. Markdown. Atop the city's highest terrace, Cersei watched the fleet's approach. Smoke-colored clouds gathered behind like omen. Lannisport bows strung on ramparts. Alchemists hurried volatile jars of wildfire to barge catapults. Jaime gone south with Myrcella. Tyrion still in distant Eyrie as Catelyn's captive. Father days away. She felt momentary pinch of solitude, but shook it off. A lion stands alone if need be. She whispered to Merlin Stone. Strike, stag, strike wolf, strike flower. But the lioness claws last. Markdown. Ned convened emergency council. Gondolas paddled emissaries across inner docks to Tower of the Hand. Peter Hill produced harbor manifests. Only 6 crown galleys battle-ready. Stannis Fields 24.
Ned rubbed temples.
We cannot repel. We petition parley. Parley buys time, Varys said. Time buys hope. If we find coin to hire sell sails, or allies to divide Stannis's purpose. Renly marches road behind Tyrell's shield, Hill reminded. Offer joint command. Pit brothers.
Ned grimaced.
Set ravens. Propose summit at Bitterbridge. If brothers parley, we breathe. Hill bowed, quill scratching swiftly.
Ser Barristan strapped helm.
I will ride to Stannis. He served the throne. He may heed reason from sword brother. Ned clasped white-gloved wrist. I will ride too, but not until my children are safe. At that, Arya burst through door, trailed by Gendry and Slint's guards. Ned's heart leapt. He embraced her, relief dagger sharp. She shoved Gendry forward. This is him. Ned studied youth. Robert's features etched unmistakably. For moments silence drew tight. I am Gendry Waters, the boy said, voice steady. Smith's boy. If I'm more, I didn't ask. Ned's expression softened. You are the king's son, and proof the queen's claim false. Arya's eyes widened. Then you're safe. Ned placed hand on her shoulder. Safe is scarce, little wolf, but truth lights our path. He ordered Gendry given clean tunic, safe lodging among northern men. Already, puzzle pieces aligned. Bastards as evidence, Stannis's letter, Robert's decree. A plan coalesced. Revealed Joffrey's illegitimacy, seat rightful heir. Yet rightful heir contested. Stannis by law, but perhaps Renly by might, or Gendry by blood beloved of small folk. Complication knotted tighter. Night approached again, ch dusk heavier. In Bailey, Smiths hammered arrowheads, torch sparks swirling like angry will-o-wisps. On the river, Stannis's vanguard dropped anchor beyond Scorpion range. Drums ceased, banners whipped. Ned lay awake listening to surf crash against walls. He pictured Winterfell's silent snows, warm kitchens, the echo of children's laughter down stone halls. He vowed that laughter would return. Dreams came fitful. Wolves chained in golden cages, roses ablaze, mockingbirds carrying candle flame into dark holes. He woke before dawn, resolved. Today he would ride under flag of parley. Markdown. At sunrise, twin outriders crossed Blackwater on barge. Ned Stark and Ser Barristan waving white pennon embroidered with dire wolf and threefold crown. On far shore, Stannis's men met them, axes sheathed though hands ready. Lord of Dragonstone waited in austere black plate, crown circlet planes steel shaped like points of a shadowed sun. Lord Stark, Stannis greeted gruff. Tragic times. Ned inclined head. Truth still lives, my lord. They spoke intent of rough canvas. Ned's evidence of bastards, Stannis's righteous fury. Barristan mediated. Ned proposed great council to decide rightful king while realm under regency protecting small folk. Stannis scoffed. Law clear, he said. I do not play dice with kingdom, Stannis growled. Renly's rebellion must end. You, Stark, secure city gates. Open them to my fleet. I promise justice for the false queen and safety for your children. Ned stiffened. I protect innocence, not crowns. Your justice may bleed the streets. Blood cleans rot, Stannis replied. Talks ended unresolved. Yet as Ned departed, Stannis's gaze lingered. Choose swift, he warned. Nightfall brings tide and war. Mark down. Ned returned under lowering noon clouds. Peter Hill greeted him with a sealed scroll fletched in green arrow. Raven from Bitterbridge. Renly agreed to Council of Claims, offered safe conduct. We can pit them, Hill urged.
Dili Eva.
Ned considered. One brother outside walls, one downriver. Lannister host days away. Tyrell in long table. Robb advancing. Chessboard reset daily. Yet each move cost lives. He summoned Jory, Desmond, Barristan, Varys. Outlined plan. Ned rides secretly at dusk to Bitterbridge with small guard. Present bastards. Demand lords decide. Barristan holds city defense. Hill negotiates grain. Varys secures Sansa, Arya, Gendry in Maegor holdfast vault. Slint's watch keeps order. All agreed save one. Arya burst forth. I come too.
Ned knelt.
My heart, this road dark. I need you to guard Sansa. She is gentle. You are strong. Arya's eyes glistened, but she nodded. So set, Ned prepared to leave the capital he barely held, chasing fragile hope that truth might yet still swords. Mark down. East wind blew foul from Dragonstone as sun dyed scarlet. On ramparts, Cersei donned cloak sewn with lioness rampant. She heard Stark's party ride through King's Gate, white wolf banner furling out of sight. Jaime still at sea, father not yet reached, but her own claws sharpened. In cryptic chamber of alchemists, wildfire jars glimmered sickly green. She laid hand upon one, feeling heat lurking. The stag will break against dragonfire, Pyromancer whispered. She smiled thin. Then the wolf burns too. Above, first star blinked awake. Below, city braced as darkness fell. Darkness cut by torches, by dragon flame, by wildfire's hungry grin, by men's hearts inflamed with pride and fear. In that darkness, destiny strained. Mockingbird's quill poised, lioness's trap drawn. Wolf's honor balanced upon brittle parchment, stag's fury beating like drum. Far away, snowflakes fell upon battlements of Winterfell. Robb Stark watched them melt on gauntlet, whispered to gray wind. The direwolf's howl rose, carrying south across leagues, across battles yet unfought, across alleys where small folk prayed and lords schemed. The howl reached Ned Stark's ears on torchlit road, though he told himself it was wind. In answer, he whispered, I'm coming, son, and spurred his horse toward crossroads where crowns, coins, and blades awaited reckoning at dawn's cold light.